Welcome back to the TKO Show. Today I'm just going to be talking about the Pacers, coming from a Pacer fan, kind of critical of them, and just wanted to talk about them a little bit. Last night they played the Celtics for the second game in a row. The first game they lost on Saturday to the Celtics, 118-101, and last night they beat them 133-131. They beat one of, if not the best team in the league after losing to them by 17. They ended up beating them after some clutch free throws and a very, very clutch foul called on Porzingis with 0.6 seconds left on the clock. And those two free throws were sunk, and Pacers won. But some things I really want to highlight in this game was Mathurin. This is his second game in a row leading the Pacers in scoring with 26 points off of 29 minutes. Now, I was very critical of him last year on my radio show, and I kind of give players 2 seasons before I say, hey, trade him or figure out what you're gonna do with him and where he fits in. And Carlisle is usually hesitant on playing rookies, but he did play him last year. He started off the season great, kind of fell into a slump once the league kind of figured out how he plays and what he's about. And he's kind of started off the season slow, but as time went on, he started to figure out, that he can play against these defenses and that they're so focused on Halliburton that it leaves him room to get in some shots. And if he starts making those shots and getting that confidence up, he's going to start knocking them down. He went 8 for 15 from the field last night. Dude looked like prime Michael Jordan out there with some of the shots he was hitting. I remember, I believe it was late in the second quarter, he drove down the baseline and drove straight at the rim, had a tough finish, and with a reverse switch hands in midair, reverse layup through contact, and drew the foul. Great job by Mathurin. He's been balling out, and with Halliburton being injured late in that second quarter and being out 2 to 3 weeks, most likely, with a strained hamstring, it's nothing too serious, thankfully, or we would be fucked if he was out for the rest of the season like we were last year. But nonetheless, we're going to need someone to step up, and I think Mathurin can be that piece. I don't know how he'll do in the starting lineup. Well, I know how he's going to do in the starting lineup, but I don't know how he's going to do in the starting lineup with him being the main focus offensively and for the main focus for the defense that they're going to be playing against. So it's going to be interesting to see how he handles that these next 2 to 3 weeks, or if he is going to be the main guy that they're going to have that teams are going to look at defensively for Mathurin, or if they're just going to hand it over to Nesmith or Bruce Brown or someone like that. Who are they going to put? Who's going to step up? I think it can be Mathurin for scoring, but I don't know how he's going to do, and you have to have someone behind him who can step up. And I think that's either going to be Nembhard, because he's probably going to take that starting spot for... Actually, I guess Nembhard's going to get a chance to start for Halliburton and not Mathurin. Unless if they put Nembhard at the 1 and then take Bruce Brown out of the starting lineup, because I don't understand why he's even in there. He really hasn't been as good as we thought he was going to be coming into the season. Yeah, he's a good defensive player, but he doesn't really give you much in scoring, and there's no reason we don't need him in the starting lineup. He contributes a lot. He had 7 points last night and played 21 minutes. He was playing for defense. We need him for defense. Him and Nesmith are 2 top defensive players, and we need defense bad. Mathurin, not great at defense. I saw him get beat by Drew Holiday. Drew Holiday was cutting to the rack down the baseline. Drew Holiday absolutely lost Mathurin, and Mathurin fell. And I don't want to say Holiday got an easy layup because McConnell came over on help defense, who's another great defender, and made Holiday earn it at the rack with a reverse layup that ended up banking in. Very nice shot by Holiday, but nonetheless, there's a lot of things with this Pacers team that need to be fixed. They played a great game last night, but primary things that need to be addressed is defense, which Carlisle has kind of addressed and has changed the starting lineup because no one is playing defense. They went to a new lineup, which I liked. I believe it was Haliburton, Nembhard, Nesmith, Smith, and Turner. I believe that was the starting lineup for a couple weeks while Bruce Brown was hurt. But once Bruce Brown came back, they put him back in the starting lineup and took Nembhard out, which I think that's been a problem. I don't know why Bruce Brown is starting over Nembhard. Nembhard I'd say he's a better defender than Bruce Brown, in my personal opinion, but Nembhard can also really only guard ones and twos, point guards and shooting guards, while Bruce Brown can guard 1 through 4. So it's definitely something that you have to look at is starting lineup, a defense, and effort. Because some games, they're not even trying. It doesn't even look like they're trying to win. And it's just ridiculous. This game, they actually showed up, and they won. That proves that the Pacers have the ability to beat anyone in the league. They can. Hell, they've really only lost one game to the Bucks this year, which should tell you everything you need to know, especially since we're probably going to see them in the playoffs in the first round, and I don't know how we're going to do in playoff basketball because it's completely different than the regular season. Now, I kind of look at it as the in-season tournament kind of gave us a peek into how they would play in a playoff-type atmosphere and a playoff, basically where the games mean something. Hell, they made it to the finals in the in-season tournament, but I don't know how they do in a 7-game series against a team who is completely focused on you for 7 games, or for a minimum 4 games, but most likely 5-6 games. But yeah, there's a lot of problems with this Pacer team, but there's a lot of bright side. And I've really talked about mostly negative things in this, but there are some bright spots. Offense is top in the league. We have one of the best point guards, or a top 3 point guard, in my opinion, in the league, in Haliburton, which he's injured, so we're not going to have him for 2 to 3 weeks, which fucking sucks. But also, something that just came into my head that I have thought about a little bit. So in the in-season tournament, whenever the Pacers would play at home, a couple of players would slip. And I noticed that when I was at the in-season tournament game for the Celtics-Pacers game. Some things that they didn't show on camera was a lot of players were slipping, going back, or getting back in transition for both offense and defense. It was mainly Pacers players. So that in-season tournament court was slippery in the first place. And now with Haliburton slipping and straining his hamstring, they have to get that court looked at. Because I don't know if they just didn't wipe up sweat, or if there was a slick spot from something else, or it was just the court. Because it was in the paint, so it was the colored part of the court. And with the in-season tournament, with the entire court being full of color, I think it's the paint that they're using for the color that's slippery for the Pacers. And I don't know, I haven't watched much around the league outside of the Pistons and the Thunder and Spurs. But those games, you never see that. You never hear of it. And I'm surprised more Pacer players haven't spoken up about it. And I wonder if they have behind the scenes went to like Kevin Pritchard and said that the court needs to be fixed, basically. And I don't know what it was. I'm not totally blaming it on the court. Obviously, there could have been, like I said earlier, some sweat that just wasn't wiped up, or just didn't have time to wipe it up, and he just slipped. But you have to find a way to figure out what's going on with that. But yeah, that is really all I have for the Pacers. Yeah, I hope you like it. See you next time. Peace.